Okay, our lesson 4.4, the absolute value of a number is its distance from zero on the number line. You're going to have some problems. You can look at this learning target. I can evaluate absolute value expressions. The absolute value of -3, of course, would be 3. Now look, if you plotted -3 on a number line, you'd see that you'd be 3 steps away from 0. So the absolute value of -3 is simply a 3. What do you think the absolute value of 12 would be? It's 12. It's not a matter of changing signs, guys. You're finding distance. So look, if you actually went through all this trouble to, go all the way out here over here to 12, you'd say, how far is 12 from 0? Well, it would be 12 steps away. You don't even have to draw those tick marks. So the absolute value of a positive number is a positive number. The absolute value of a negative number is also a positive number because it's measuring distance. Now, I do want to show you something really cool. You could work out this problem by hand. The absolute value of -8 is an 8. How about in here? These are like parentheses. What's -3 minus 7? That would be -10, wouldn't it? And the absolute value of -10, what's that? Just a 10, right? And 8 minus 10 would be -2. I want to show you something. If you've got a graphing calculator, this is like the best news. You're going to be able to just type this in, the math button. You can go to the right to the number, and you can type in absolute value of -8. I'm going to slide that over, hit minus. I'm going to make the absolute value show up over here, and we'll have -3 minus a 7. And you know what? I don't think the 3 took. -3 minus the 7. And from there, when you hit enter, you'd get the exact same answer. So the calculator will allow you to get this done in a hurry. But guys, when you're solving absolute value equations, that's a different learning topic, and that's something that we're going to be doing now for the rest of this worksheet. Okay, so what you're going to have is this mandate. Always, always, always get the absolute value alone. Get the absolute value alone. Okay, that's really what we're going to be doing so much in these next lessons. Here's your absolute value right here. Is it by itself? No. Get it by itself. It's the absolute value of -10 equals 14. Guess what we got to do? We're going to have to add a 10 to both sides, right? And we'll have the absolute value of x is equal to 24. The absolute value of x is equal to 24. Now, for the first time, we're seeing an x inside of the absolute value. We're trying to solve this. And please hear this loud and clear. This is a good way to remember it. 2 bars. 2 bars mean that if there's an answer, there will be 2 solutions in general. If you have the absolute value is equal to some positive number, 2 bars means you got to have 2 solutions. Look, you're saying find all the numbers whose distance from 0 is 24. Guess what one of those answers could be? -24 and +24. You got to set both of them equal because, look, here's 0. You could say you could be 24 steps away to the right. You could be 24 steps away from the left. 2 bars in general mean you're going to have 2 solutions. You'll have x equals the positive value that you see there, then you'd get x equals the negative. Now, number 4 is actually going to be a trick question, and we've got to be real careful about this. Look at this. Absolute value of x plus 2 equals -3. Is the absolute value alone? No, get it alone. How do we get it alone? Subtract a 2. And then we'd have the absolute value of x is equal to -5. Now, if you're on your toes, you're going to know something is seriously wrong. Can the absolute value be something negative? No. Kids will say, sure, I'm going to put in an answer of 5. No, what's the absolute value of 5? 5. What's the absolute value of -5? It's 5. This is no solution. And kids can think, well, wait a minute, why? The absolute value is distance. You can't have negative distance. That's really what's going on here. So we've got to be real careful here. If you're going to have the absolute value equaling something negative, it's actually the easiest problem that you'd ever have. You just say no solution. Now, Alex will put some of these problems in there. You got to be real careful about that. Okay? Well, let's move on to number 5, and we're going to solve here. Is the absolute value alone? Yes. So I don't have to get it alone. Remember, that's our first step, our first big question. By the way, our absolute value is equal to something positive. Will we have an answer here? Yes. So now what do? 2 bars mean 2 equations. You will take 2x minus 4 and set it equal to 6, or 2x minus 4 could equal -6. Because what we're seeing is that distance of this yellow expression right here, we could be 6 steps to the right of 0 or 6 steps to the left. 2 bars means set up 2 equations, set the original expression equal to the positive number, then to the negative. The rest of it's pretty simple. You add a 4. 6 plus 4 is a 10. We're going to divide by a 2. We'll get x is equal to 5. Here I'm going to add a 4. -6 plus 4 is equal to -2. I can divide by a 2, and I'll have x is equal to -1. So I'm going to get 2 distinct answers. If you're worried about whether you've done that right, you can check it. You can plug these numbers back in and make sure that they work out. Okay. The last one, for example, 6. Is the absolute value alone? Yes. Is the absolute value set equal to something positive? No, it's no solution. Guys, like I said, this is a problem where you can say, well, wait a minute. Why would it be no solution? The absolute value is a distance. You can't have the absolute value equaling something negative. Now, sometimes kids try to solve that anyway. And every once in a while, a kid will do that. They'll say, look, I did, Mr. Dobner, I got an answer. 3x minus 6 equals -9. Look, I added a 6. I got 3x equals -3. And I'm getting x equals -1. And I got another answer. Guys, if you plug that in, it won't work. Look, if you plug -1 in, 3 times -1, it's going to be -3. And -3 minus 6 is -9. What's the absolute value of -9? +9. This stuff doesn't work. Look, absolute value equals something negative, you're done.